Welcome back to Beyond Revenue, where every Friday we unpack the real actions behind sustainable growth. I'm your host, Michael Jäger, and the goal of this show is simple. We want to go beyond frameworks, buzzwords, and instead we want to dig into the concrete decision, trade-offs, and lessons that actually moved the needle, including the things which didn't work. Today, I'm joined by Johanna Fagerstedt, founder of Sparketing, advisory and fractional CMO for fast-growing B2B SaaS companies. She's part of the board of Lime Technologies, was previously CMO at the AI engagement company Mentimeter. Johanna, you have scaled multiple B2B SaaS companies internationally, and you have been deeply involved in transforming how marketing teams operate, especially in the age of AI. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So before we get into AI and tactics, let's set some context. Can you briefly share your background, your role today, what Sparketing actually do, and what's the real focus there?
Yes. So my background is, since I started my professional career, which was more than 16 years ago, I've been involved in scale-up B2B SaaS companies in different ways, scaling international companies from basically zero to market leadership, working all the way from when SaaS was new and we moved from on-prem to SaaS to now recently with the new shift going from SaaS into the new AI agentic era. Have been at companies like the workforce management company Quinix, recently Mentimeter. I'm also in the board of Lime Technologies and highly involved in the SaaS community.
Interesting. So I think that's great context. And as you have led marketing through multiple growth phases, and as you said, from early stage to later stage, from on-premise to SaaS, now on the AI, let's say the new agentic the way of operating. What is your opinion? How is AI changing the way marketing is operating?
Well, I have a deep passion for this topic, and currently I try to really go, under the hood of the AI native companies out there who does this really well. And like you mentioned, I have a podcast called the AI Native Marketer, where I've been sitting really deep with companies like Legora, Lovable, or Tandem Health. They are really like rockets on the AI scene right now. And what impresses me the most is really the speed of execution at the moment in those companies. It's a completely different mindset shift from what we've seen before, where roles are shifting quickly. People are going into builders mode, and leaders who previously spent a lot of time working with their teams, trying to get across changes or putting things into a backlog, are suddenly starting to get in tools themselves to really move fast. So I think that the key change is really speed of change at the moment, which is something we've never seen before.
Absolutely, and the growth rate some companies can achieve in such short time is unbelievable. Or what would you say? When did you realize that AI is gonna change the entire way how we operate? Right, one topic is obviously the execution speed, but I think it's even changing the way we generally operate because of the abilities of this technology.
Well, it's a good question. I think for me, it was an eye-opener back in 2020 when I was at a company called Quinix, and we acquired a company called WidgetBrain, which was an AI optimization tool for very complex scheduling. So it was AI and machine learning before, AI was a big thing. And it was so evident at the time that the level of complexity that these models could handle and the solutions they could generate was something we hadn't seen before. So that's when I realized there's no going back from this stage. And I was also in the board of a company called Lingio that worked with AI language learning. And the things that they were able to produce back in 2021 was something also we'd never seen before at this speed. And when OpenAI then made AI accessible to the public, I was really quick to use it. And I mean, as a starting point, now it's everyday commodity, but working with text, for example, or writing text, bouncing ideas was something we'd never seen before. And currently it is something that is picking up so quickly. I read a study I think it was a year ago. And at the time, over 60% of the German population were already using ChatGPT. And it's something we've never seen before. It's coming out of curiosity, out of creating value. So it's really such a massive shift for us.
Absolutely. Very interesting that 2020 already could realize that, and from firsthand, I guess the rest of the world rather got 2 years later to it. But let's get started with the purpose of the show, right? So let's discuss 2 tactics which actually worked, which you applied. It would be nice if you could share the initial situation, the strategy you applied, and what was the outcome. So goal is to have 2 tactics which work, and one where we learn something, so the audience can really have some tangible advice and use it in their own companies.
I think one of the tactics that I've used myself was, so like I mentioned, me and a former colleague, Jacob, we started a podcast called the AI Native Marketer because we really wanted to understand how the best marketers out there were applying AI. And as a part of that process, we also made a decision to use AI ourselves and to apply the mindset of those companies when we did this. So we said, okay, let's do this, and let's do it quite scrappy. We're gonna be clear with our outcomes. So we want to really do this because of our own learning, but we also want to be able to share it with a wider set, a wider audience, because we're so excited about this topic. But we really want to do it smart. So we want to use tools that are using AI. We want to be quick. We want to be, good enough and go out and test things. So that's what we did. So we decided to spend a minimal effort on each podcast episode, ship it straight away, look into what worked, collect feedback, and then continue testing. So that has been, I think, more of a mindset shift, but in everything from what we're doing, like both from bouncing the name of the podcast, doing the imagery, doing the editing, publishing it, coming up with questions, everything was used in a very smart and agile way. And the whole process was super smooth. So coming from the idea of creating a podcast until it was actually done and out, it was only a few hours later. Of course, you need to do the human work and really get the guests in, but everything around it was a complete different way of working from what we've done before. And my colleague comes from, film production previously, so he's really good at producing. But we intentionally was like, let's use the latest tools and methods out there to make this quick and fast and ship something to the market.
And how did you structure it? So concretely, maybe, right? So recording, what tools did you use?
Yeah, great question. We used Riverside like you're using yourself. And then we used the editing function in Riverside. At the time, we were using, I think, OpenAI or Gemini for imagery, and also similar LLMs for bouncing ideas and doing copy.
Nice.
Basically.
Cool. And where's the podcast standing now? Can you share some? So how many episodes did you record so far? How does it go in general?
Yeah, so we've done 8 episodes so far.
Nice.
Now we're in mid-May. I think this will be launched a bit later. And it's had a massive reach in the SaaS community. It's something, we saw that this is something that everyone is currently thinking about. Like, how do we solve this in practice? What are the real use cases to do this? What can I myself really learn from this that I can apply in my everyday work? So that's been really, really fascinating. But another tactic I'm currently doing now when I'm freelance is, and something that I love, is really getting the chance to almost redo old ways of doing marketing. So what I'm doing now is creating my own website, and I'm doing that in Claude. I'm also getting a sparring partner in a really good AI expert. But I'm setting that up in Claude and using skills in Claude to make sure that it's really optimized for SEO, for LLMs, and running agents to continue optimizing the website. So basically every day I will get pinged from the Claude agent telling me, here are some suggestions you should make on your website to make it better, to optimize it further. And I don't have a separate CMS, so it's fully built in Claude.
Nice.
So that's a project I'm currently running.
And how did you do it concretely? So you started describing what you want to achieve. Did you define more on top level what do you do? Or maybe you can run us a little bit through step by step as a kind of menu?
Sure. So basically doing this and being a freelancer, I started, of course, with the positioning. So what am I offering the market? Who is my ideal customer? What are my USPs? What makes my value offer stand out from someone else's? So as with everything, you really need to start with a strong core. And I think that the fundamentals of marketing are more important than ever. You really need to go back to a first principle mindset and be like, what am I trying to achieve? And why am I doing this? And clearly point that out. So build a very specific and clear brief why you're doing it. And I think that comes to everything. If you don't do the groundwork well or really set the solution that you're there to solve, it's not going to be a good outcome. But that's what I was doing first. So really this is the structure I would like to see. Here is the positioning. But then also coming back to here's the imagery that I would like to use. Here is my brand. Here are the visual elements. And then basically baking all of that into Claude, using Claude Code for that, but doing quite a lot of prompting. And then also we're using a tool called Astro, which is kind of like a webhook or something similar. I'm not fully sure about the function of it, but you need that in order to get the website up and running. Okay. But the rest you can do in Claude. And then you will have to instruct Claude to do updates. So, it's a completely different experience from running a usual CMS where you go in and edit it yourself. Here is it's almost like you're a leader who have people working for you, where you instruct them to update the website, but the people you're instructing is actually Claude itself. And you have a really good SEO expert who also knows how to create really good content that is being captured and in line with the new, search behavior. So it's being captured by LMS. So it has all the skills constantly updated. So I think that is really fascinating. You can also add design skills and copy skills, which is mind-blowing.
Yeah, super interesting. And what is one tactic where you had a challenge and applied something which didn't work out, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, that is a really good question. One thing that actually I was discussing yesterday with a person in my network was automating the things that are usually very human. So the question was should we use AI to do the SDR work? Basically use AI voices to do cold calling and outreach. And this was in quite a conservative business where you would really need to understand the business. Even your accent would matter. Being real and genuine was really important for this ICP. So my recommendation was definitely not. If it's something where you should definitely not do AI, it's where the human relationships are key. So I would say I would never outsource something where that could question your authenticity. So that could be, for example, AI automated SDRs doing lots of calling, even though I'm sure you could automate and make sure to get the right accent in place or similar. But having an actual human speaking with you when you're making a really important B2B decision is critical, because B2B decisions, especially enterprise decisions, are so much more emotional and require so much more trust than a B2C decision even, which is and having a strong brand and really standing for something is critical. So that is a tactic where I would not use it. But I also had I had a terrible incident a while ago with a colleague where I was recording I was having a one-to-one conversation, which was very deep and very what's working right now, what's not working, what's on your mind. And then I was recording it. And then I sent out the summary to her without checking the summary. I was just relying too much on AI. And once she got it, she got back and she was really upset. She was like, this is not okay. This is not what I've said. The summary that you sent me, it's not what we had a conversation about in the meeting. And it's picking, you've written things here in the summary that is not even me. And then I went back, and then I realized that there were so many AI hallucinations in that summary. So the biggest mistake I've done is really like not checking things like in this thing to really make sure, like, is it in line with what we're actually committing
Trusting
to?
too fast.
Relying too much on AI. Yeah.
Fair.
It's always having a human in the loop, or marketing in the loop if you're doing marketing.
Totally agree. So let me summarize.
But that was terrible. Like, I still blush thinking about this. You know, if you're a leader and you're having like a heartful, deep one-to-one, and then the summary is like, it's bad, then you lose so much trust.
Absolutely.
And all of that time is like wasted. So
I would say that's in general, right? Even in non-B2B context, we have the tendency to rely very fast on the answer the LLM or the tool gives us, right? And I don't think it always gives good answers.
No.
Because what I put into my Claude as a preference, state confidence level on your answers. Whatever you give, and it's not always giving me an answer with confidence high. So which is we shouldn't be too blind on the knowledge of these tools.
Exactly. And I think it's so much more important to really be clear on your own opinions and your own thinking, and use AI to challenge yourself and not rely on what AI gives you, because I think that's where we can go really, really wrong, because that could drift really fast. And the best people out there are using AI to do, the monkey work, things that are taking a lot of bulk time, but that doesn't give any value. And then you spend really the value on like thinking about what is your proposition to the market? What is your unique USP? What is actually solving problems for my customers and users? And maybe most importantly, building human relationships, because that's what we have been deprioritizing for all this other work, I would say, for the last, 10, 20, 30 years, being more and more productive. But I think now when we have the opportunity to become more productive, let's use that on building real relationships, because that's something that AI cannot do.
Sure, absolutely.
I think that's also why we see the comeback of, community-driven marketing, partner-driven marketing, where you team up and you really make sure to create a space to understand each other and to connect for real, because trust is the new capital. That's like when software is easy to replicate and free, what you cannot replicate is authenticity, trust, and relationships.
I believe even the usage of these tools on the one side, driven by efficiency, even gives us a tendency to rush even faster over these things. And I don't know, I see it in the company descriptions, I see it in a lot of emails, you see it in the depth of how to structure things. And I think your example of sharing the call note, right? So we just assume it's all correct, and I would say most of the time it's not, So when we obviously we use AI in our workflows and things, but there's no way we can use AI and then just let it run through. Everything needs to be checked. That's what companies completely forget. They first of all want to run AI on things which are not structured and it doesn't work, and then they take out the controller of it, and it's so important. And
I also think, sorry for interrupting, but I also think it's so important now with the speed of execution, and things are running so fast, and everyone is able to, as a solo person, you are able to accomplish so much in such a short time. But then how do you align people to move and to feel engagement and commitment to what's actually happening? I think like leadership and alignment and creating an engagement and making sure that all, the voices are being heard in a company has never been more important than today.
Enablement, we put enablement comes much more into focus. And the theory, right, is, I think especially in go-to-market, the theory is there, right? Everybody knows the theory. I think now it's a little bit predominantly more there because AI helps us to make it even more visible. But the problem is not the theory, or the problem is not that the companies don't know how or what needs to be done. They just don't do it. And they forget the people. They assume a lot. And I think the enablement part and the leadership there, how to proper lead, how to enable the people, how to keep them on a common cause comes much more even more. It should have been before there as a focus, but it's now even more important.
Yeah, exactly. And one role that I see emerging right now as well in many companies, in many growth SaaS tech companies, is a new role coming up, which really combines, a deep commercial understanding with a deep knowledge about the customer's everyday challenges with technical expertise. So basically, you would merge like a PM role with an engineering role, and almost like a marketer or CS person in one role. And being able to have that, combining that in really small teams, is something that could make you move really fast and ship things that really, really creates value for the customers.
Yeah.
But you work hand in hand. So it's almost like a partnership model with your customers to be able to really understand what drives value. And I think that's a shift we'll see in all departments. It's going to happen in marketing, that you really look and you do talent mapping and understand what are the skills and competences we need now to really be able to achieve what we've set out to do and create value for our customers.
Sure.
But it's also happening in product teams and engineering, that redefining whole departments, and the same in sales and CS. So I think the whole the revenue trio, or what I call sparketing, like sales, product, and marketing, working hand in hand, is really in a redefining era of like, really, it forces us to really become commercial, become engineers, and to be really.
It's actually funny that you say that, because our operating model towards our clients is always a squad out of 3, right? It's a partner, it's a business acumen, project senior RevOps project lead, and the technical lead. Combining the core squad on supporting how to operate and go to market, because we exactly see this. There needs to be a lot of business acumen. There needs to be a very deep understanding of as an operator of the roles and how we function, while we need to understand the technical aspects of the core systems as well as the adjacent systems within where we make use of the new tools. And without it, it's going to be extremely hard, because obviously, you need to not only make use of AI, you need to redesign the way we operate, and that's the challenge, and there's even more depth needed on being focused and detailing it out, and not less.
No? Yes, 100%.
So let me summarize more or less the 3 learnings we had. Right, I think the first was be focused and make use of AI to be able to decide and ship fast, and then iterate on the learnings. Your example was the podcast, where you can even publish an episode within a couple of hours or within the same day, while having done all the work which was needed. The second part is don't hold back and just be your own entrepreneur. Even so, in this case, you even are your own entrepreneur, but make use of AI to really ship topics, right? In this case, your website, right? Be clear what you need, who you are, what's your ICP, what's your USP, what is your maybe even branding around what you want to solve, and then make use of AI to build it, while using AI to optimize it on its own, by using, in this case, Claude skills. And then the third part is don't underestimate the value of trust, because only quick and speed and quickness and efficiency will not build the trust needed in let's say in a bigger market B2B environment to really close the deals and build long-term partnerships. So if you on top of funnel reduce the quality, it will be felt later later of the journey, because the deals will not convert. Johanna, anything to add there?
No, 100%. Really well summarized.
So that's it for today's episode of Beyond Revenue. Thank you very much, Johanna, for joining us and sharing your knowledge. So for everyone who is listening, if you found this episode useful, please share it with someone, especially if they're currently figuring out how they should make use of AI, and how they should optimize their marketing teams with using AI. New episode drops every Friday. Real operators, real lessons. I'm Michael Jäger, your host, and see you next time.